digital identity cards.
The digital ID.
Imagine a world where your every move, every transaction, every interaction is tracked and recorded. What would that mean for your personal freedom and privacy? This is the digital dilemma we face today. As technology advances, so too does the potential for its misuse. Digital IDs, for instance, are gaining global traction. They promise to streamline government services, reduce fraud and enhance security. But at what cost? Critics warn of the erosion of individual liberties, potential misuse and data privacy concerns. Take, for example, the FADE digital ID program in Ethiopia. It's a cornerstone of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's vision for a digitally transformed nation. But beneath the promise of progress, a sinister plot is perceived to be brewing, one that could grant unprecedented control over the citizenry. As we delve into the story of Abiy Ahmed, we must consider: is the promise of progress worth the potential cost to our liberties? To understand the man behind the plot, we must journey back to the beginning. Abiy Ahmed, a young man trained by the CIA, begins his career in the shadows. Abiy Ahmed was not born with a silver spoon nor a path paved to power. Instead, he was molded in the crucible of covert operations, honing his skills under the watchful eye of the Central Intelligence Agency. As a young man, he was drawn into the clandestine world of intelligence, where secrets are currency and manipulation is the game. His training with the CIA was far from ordinary. It was not about physical brawn, but intellectual prowess. He was taught the subtle art of surveillance, how to blend into the crowd, yet keep a keen eye on the target. He was drilled in the craft of manipulation, learning to twist words, influence thoughts, and control actions. But his journey didn't end there. Upon his return to Ethiopia, he found a place in the National Intelligence and Security Service, or NISS. Here, he was not just a spy, but a patriot, or so it seemed. His mission was to keep an eye on potential threats, but the threats he was tasked with were not foreign adversaries, but his own countrymen. Within the walls of NISS, Ahmed was a silent observer, watching, waiting, and learning. He tracked dissidents, extracted confessions, and gathered information. Each piece of data was a thread, and Ahmed was the spider at the center of the web, weaving a tapestry of control. As he climbed the ranks, his skills were put to the ultimate test. He was not just observing anymore, but influencing, shaping the narrative to his will. His talent for manipulation was not just used for extracting information, but for swaying public opinion and consolidating his power. Equipped with his skills in surveillance and manipulation, Ahmed was ready to ascend the ranks of power. The stage was set, the pieces were in place, and the puppet master was ready to pull the strings. The birth of a spy was complete, but this was only the beginning of Abiy Ahmed's ascent. Abiy Ahmed's rise to power was swift and decisive. With the launch of Telebir, he made his first move. Telebir, at first glance, is a payment app. It's a digital wallet, a tool of convenience for the modern Ethiopian citizen. On its introduction, it was met with a warm reception. People hailed it as a step towards digital transformation, a move towards financial inclusion. And why wouldn't they? In a world where digital transactions are the norm, Telebir seemed like a godsend. But as the saying goes, not everything that glitters is gold. There were whispers, rumors, allegations. Some claimed that Telebir was more than just a payment app. It was a data collection tool, a spy camouflaged as a convenience. It was said to track every transaction, every movement of its users. It was like having a surveillance device in your pocket, watching, listening, recording. These allegations were brushed aside, dismissed as conspiracy theories. After all, Telebir was a government initiative intended for the public good. But those who knew Abiy Ahmed's past, his training in surveillance, his stint with the NISS, they weren't so sure. They saw a pattern, a continuation of his old ways. Telebir was not just a payment app, it was a means to an end, a stepping stone in Abiy Ahmed's grand plan. With it, he had penetrated the digital landscape, establishing a foothold in the private lives of Ethiopian citizens. He had a way to monitor, to control, to manipulate, but Abiy was only the beginning. It was the first piece in a larger puzzle, a part of a more sinister plot. It was a prelude to something far more ambitious, something far more dangerous. It was the precursor to FIDA, the digital ID program that would grant Abiy Ahmed unprecedented control over every Ethiopian citizen. With Abiy Ahmed had established a foothold in the digital landscape. But this was only the beginning. Scene script. Next came FIDA, a digital ID program promising efficiency and convenience. But what was the true agenda behind this initiative? As a cornerstone of Abiy Ahmed's vision for a digitally transformed Ethiopia, FIDA was launched with much fanfare in 2021. It was touted as a system that would give Ethiopians a secure and verifiable identity. This digital ID would be the key to essential services like healthcare, education, and financial transactions. It was designed to use biometric data, such as fingerprints and iris scans, to authenticate individuals. The government's narrative painted FIDA as a catalyst for economic growth, a tool for improved service delivery, and a means to reduce corruption. It was projected as a way to strengthen social safety nets, enhance financial inclusion, and streamline administrative processes. But as with any story, there's always another side. Beneath the glossy exterior of progress and modernization, critics argue that FIDA is not what it seems. They raise concerns about data privacy, potential misuse of information, and an erosion of individual liberties. FIDA's extensive use of biometric data and tracking capabilities have raised eyebrows. The fear is that these features could be used not just for the verification of identities, but also for surveillance. Critics argue that every Ethiopian citizen could become a pawn in Abiy Ahmed's game, their every move, every action monitored and recorded. The concerns don't stop at surveillance. What happens if this data falls into the wrong hands? What if it is used to stifle dissent, to control, to oppress? These are not just hypothetical questions, but real fears that Ethiopians grapple with as they contemplate the implications of the FIDA digital ID system. FIDA, it seems, is not just a tool for progress, but a mechanism for control. This is the dark undercurrent that runs beneath the surface of this digital ID system. As we delve further into the implications of this initiative, the question remains, is FIDA a step towards a brighter future or a descent into a dystopian nightmare? Abiy Ahmed's master plan reaches its climax with the full implementation of the FIDA digital ID system. This digital ID system, brimming with biometric data and tracking capabilities, is not just a tool for identification and access to services. It's the mark of the beast, a symbol of obedience and servitude to Ahmed's regime. But let's take a step back. The phrase "mark of the beast" is sourced from biblical texts, representing a mark of allegiance, a submission to a higher authority. In this case, the authority is Abiy Ahmed and his government. The FIDA system, the mark in our narrative, is designed to track and monitor every Ethiopian citizen, turning them into a cog in Ahmed's machinery of control. Imagine this: every transaction, every step, every action you take is monitored, recorded, and stored. Your biometric data, your fingerprints, your iris scans, all in the hands of one man. This goes beyond Orwellian. It's a dystopian reality that seems ripped straight from the pages of a science fiction novel. And it doesn't stop there. According to their agenda, by 2025, Ethiopians won't be able to buy or sell without this ID or the Abiy app. This is not just about control, it's about complete and utter dominance. It's about stripping away personal freedoms under the guise of progress and modernization. But what happens when this data falls into the wrong hands? With such a vast amount of sensitive information centralized, the potential for misuse is enormous. It's not just about surveillance and control anymore, it's about the erosion of personal freedoms, the loss of privacy, and the potential for exploitation. Under the guise of progress, Abiy Ahmed has woven a web of digital control, but at what cost? The promise of a digitally transformed Ethiopia is on the horizon. However, it's crucial to ask ourselves if the price to be paid, The sacrifice of personal freedoms and privacy is truly worth it. As we reflect on the journey of Abiy Ahmed from CIA trainee to Prime Minister, we are left with a burning question. We've traced his path from the shadows of the CIA to the spotlight of Ethiopia's political stage, and we've uncovered his ambitious yet ominous digital agenda. Under the banner of progress and modernization, Abiy Ahmed has introduced Telebir and Fader, platforms that promise convenience and efficiency. Yet beneath the surface of these technological marvels, we find a chilling reality. These tools, deeply embedded with surveillance capabilities, could potentially be used to exert control, erode individual liberties, and transform citizens into mere cogs in a machinery of oppression. In the face of this digital dilemma, we must question whether the benefits of progress outweigh the potential risks to our freedoms. In the pursuit of progress, must we sacrifice our personal freedoms? The answer lies in the hands of the Ethiopian people.